In this episode of Piggy Power,
shiny stuff.
Diabslow.
and the reason we're on the Diabslow today, seriously, Diabslow time. Hello, welcome to Piggy Power. Get your merch. Diabslow time. So, TIG welder's out. Got a bunch of stainless exhaust. It's MOT time, and I vowed about a year ago that at some point in my own time I'd build a stainless steel OEM exhaust system, just that it lasted. This old one was pretty rusty, did repair I think on the previous one. Now the MOT is due in a week and it's blowing in about 50 places because it's ancient, and it just gets bashed around. So I best crack out the stainless and actually do it, I guess. So let's record what it sounds like to start with. I'll show you what I'm going to replace it with. Hopefully it won't actually sound much different. I want for an OEM style exhaust, a little bit more flow, but that will just basically last forever because stainless. So let's hear the amazing sound of a 2-litre diesel stage 1 with a standard exhaust system. That's exciting. Yummy. Notice the scuff mark from a car that just scuffed it in a car park and drove off. Thanks very much. That was full of incitement. That's insight and excitement. It's one word, incitement. Not really. Anyway, let's rip this old one off and then we'll put it side by side with the stuff that I'm going to replace it with. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it? It's off. Oh, of course. Huh? Just put one off there. Just get off. Get off. Get up. Alright. Yay! Okay, bath. Let go. Get off. Thank you. Well, second-hand exhaust for sale. Right. Oh, the extensions. I should get that somewhere. But it's working. Yeah, baby. Get off. Give me my exhaust. Yes. Yes. Victory. Condition. So that's the old system removed with a less than, yes, good blow. Could weld it up, could bung it, whatever. OEM system bits need replacing. And basically to get the centre and back section, it's like 70 or 80 quid. All the parts to do the stainless system have cost me £220, every single part. Probably give me some leftovers as well. And I might have gone further than you were done. I've gone for a mid-box and a back box, a Pro Fusion, whatever it's called, back box, and it's not straight through, it's got a little kink in it, reduce the sound down. Mid-box helps with drone as well. Full flow sports cap. And a 90 degree, because it was £1 more than 45, and I can just chop it in half to make my two 45s. I'm waiting for 145, which makes the little bend there. So we're going to cut the OEM flange off the top there. They're quite hard to make or get hold. We can't get hold of them. So we'll cut that off. Weld that onto a piece of straight and then a 45. Then we'll go into our high flow cat, and then we'll use a swaged end and clamp, which will then go onto this mid box, which is that piece of straight, and then two 45s made out of that, cut in half, and then that'll go with a little kink onto our nice back box. The end tip hasn't arrived yet. A 2.25 inch. This all is OEM size, but obviously without crush bends and some better flow. And it'll go out to a 2.75 inch, which will then just crush down slightly to make an oval, to make an OEM finish on the end. I've gone for slip joints, so you can adjust quite easily with the slip joints. There's quite a lot of rotation on them, well, 360 degrees, so you can just get all the fitment right, because as you weld, it's not going to be perfect, and you know, it's not going to be perfect. It's the daily. So hopefully I've gone for a system that won't be much louder at all, particularly on idle and cruising. It'll be nice and quiet, and give me a bit more flow, and it'll last basically forever, being stainless that is. So just going to whip the rubbers off that system. That's all we need off that, the rubbers and that end flange, and chuck the rest away and start building a new system. Yay! Quick question I know you're all going to ask me, why only 2.25 inch? Why for only a couple of quid more per piece to go to 2.5 inch? One, I don't need 2.5 inches of exhaust. Seriously, makes 130 horsepower on a good day. Two, it's a few quid more per part. It would work out about £30 to £40 more, depending on the quality of the back box, which was the biggest sort of price changer. Am I on 3 or 8? I can't remember now. 8. It goes down to 2 inches at places, the OEM system. Let me give you an example. This is the tail piece, which I was thinking of using, because it is actually stainless. They stick a stainless piece on the end of the back box. So you'd think this is the widest point. Well, this is 2.25 inch. Yeah, that sits inside it. And at some points it goes down to quite a bit smaller than that. In fact, right on the back box, it squeezes right inside. So it actually is an improvement, 2.25 inches. I'd say it's basically an average 2-inch system before. So we are going for a 12.5% increase in flow just by increasing that. So that's a win. Plus shiny. But that doesn't obviously matter, but shiny! Okay peeps, so there's our first section. I am learning as I go, so there's some rubbish bits and there's some more rubbish bits. But this is the section that runs basically under the gear lever here. Cat, and this will go onto the mid muffler, whatever you want to call it. But we are lacking some length between the turbo connection, which is the original part here, and that'll go about there somewhere. So we're just going to nip this onto the back of the turbo, lay this underneath the car, and measure the gap between the two. Just with the 45 on, it had been really difficult, and I could have got it pointing up and down. So with these couple of bits on it, I can get that level point under the car on a jack or some stands, and then I can accurately measure the gap, cut that, weld it on the bench, and then we've got a first section, part 1, complete, part 1 of 3. Possibly the easiest bit, to be honest, and I'm already struggling, so good sign. My welds, I'm pleased with. Some are just diabolical. I might as well have had my hand over my eyes at the time. Some aren't so bad, don't know if you can see that. I'm not really going to give you a close-up for personal embarrassment reasons. And ones with the mild steel, I don't know what steel that is, it's a mild steel obviously. Some of it comes out really nice, and then it's like 20-mile gales today and wind and rain, which doesn't help. I had stuff to do outside, did it on the dry day, but it was a still day, and I was like, that'd be perfect for welding, but there we go. No workshop, so we're in the barn. There we go. So that's the first section done. So what we'll do is we'll bolt this up now. Now we know it's effectively done. And level it up with the stand, and then we can work from this end backwards First, probably, I hope I don't have to, hoping to avoid having to weld on something on this, but we might have to because that looks like it's designed for an inner sleeve, so that's great. Wish I'd known that. I didn't check that, did I? No, I did not check that. Plus the fact there's wire wool just sticking out everywhere inside, we'll have to try and pull that out. But there we go. That's going to be the next bit, and then we'll go on from then round the bend. So we're going round the bend today. Oh dear. So that's nice. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's nice. And then now, I don't know if it's on camera, I don't know what's going on, but now my helmet's flat. So I was just doing a quick video for Piggy there because my welds really aren't very good at all. I can assure you, not good. I suck at welding, yeah. Nice. Something started going wrong, it went grey, and then I added some filler rod and bleh. Beastie part. Let's try and put the light the other way so we both can see. Yeah, my face, that is perfect. We love when lights are the most useless thing. Sometimes you're better off just being in the dark. Okay, so she should slide in there, like that, and that is not bad, not too bad. And then we should have a hanger that will just go here, like that. Yeah. Of course it's about 4 inches off where I measured it and tacked it, I'm not joking. Maybe 3 inches, so that's ideal. That's what that looks like. Ow! Okay. Right. Oh, I'm getting old for this. I'm genuinely getting too old for this, and I'm not very old. Okay. So that's how it looks. Let's hope there's clearance. Cut and weld, and then comes along. cat, mid silencer, bad welds, okay welds, welds, and lots of noise. And there'll be a hanger just there somewhere. Okay, I think we're going for that. It's just too tempting to not use that than the OEM. It's 2.7 inch, 2.75 inches. So what I'm thinking of doing here, I knew I'd have to make a couple of pie cuts of some sort. That's what we're going to do. So basically we'll come straight out of there and then we'll kink up slightly, 30 degrees or so, with a single pie cut, sort of something like that, and then an opposite pie cut here, straight in here. It slots on this. This is on an outer 2.75 inch, or I should say inner, so it can just slide in, and then we'll clamp that. So something like a 30, then a 30, and we should get there. So I'll cut a short length first. And then put a cut on the end of it, straight, cut on the end of it, straight. We should be good. You always have to bring it up here a little bit. I hate boxes hanging right down. I like it all tucked up as best I can. And it's good for dailying, isn't it? You're not going to bash it on something and rip your exhaust off, which is rather annoying. These are really handy because they give you angles and length, so I know that, oh, I want it from there, and I want it up that much, etc. So that's what we're going to work out on some paper and then cut and weld. Well, there you go, some duff welds. Well, they're not duff as in not good as effusion, it's some little manky. Apparently Tiggy says it's my filler rod. If only. Well, I think it's part of it. Apparently it's 1.6mm, which I've measured, and I should be having 1mm filler rod for this little stuff. There is some really nice moments where it welds up nicely, but there's some other areas where it doesn't. All learning. Right, so this is the piece that goes up to the back box, comes down, and this goes off the rest of the exhaust system. So I just need to fit this to the back box and put the slots in the back box. The back box is exactly where we want, and then we can mark up this joint here to the rest of the system. This is our last joint, so it needs to be pretty darn good. So there's our section almost finished. We have a little bit of adjustment and a train as usual. There's our mid box just there, and we've got a 45, straight 45, 10-degree bend, and then a 20 and a 20 just to bring it round. Any more and I'd go for a bend, a 30-degree bend, but a little kink don't hurt no one. But it's got no hangers, so there's a jack there, and there's a jack there holding everything in place. The one weld left to do is here, and the reason we've left this one is this: we can just push this exactly where we want it, make a mark, take it all off and weld it. So what we're now going to do, now we kind of know that all the boxes in the right place, is start on the hangers. They're quite tricky because you think, oh, I'll weld a hanger in this position now, then of course a rubber stretches down. The first and easiest one is a hanger just in front of the fuel tank there, and in between the fuel tank and the mid box. So it's effectively just a straight piece of pole that comes out the side. So that shouldn't be too tricky. Get that door undone. And then there's two on the back box, which obviously adjust the twist and all sorts on the back box. One hooks up onto there, like that. So we might put it on the mid pipe or the back box, not sure yet. But there's also one there and one there. So either you put two on the back box. Not all of them have one back there, so I'm not really sure yet which one to do and which one not to do. I'll have a think about that. Oh, we're using 12mm stainless bar, original rubbers, nothing really wrong with them, but you can, obviously, if you just did it like that, and then there's just a little bit of stretch, it doesn't have to be much. Stainless is pretty heavy, 5-6mm, and suddenly all the stuff's out of the way, so you want to get it pretty close as is. We've got our mid hanger, it's just literally a bar, put a split down the middle just to stop it coming off, but it doesn't really happen. That holds the weight in the middle, and then this, which is still hot, unbelievably, is our hook at the front, which is going to weld on like that. We've made marks on the back box once it was in place, hanging in the right place at the right weight, etc. And then this is the other hanger that goes off in the other direction. This, I think, will be trickier to weld, this one, because it's onto a thinner section. This one's going to take hopefully most of the weight. And then the final tip we're going to do right at the end, we're going to have the whole system fixed on there, and then we'll put the tip on, probably even tack it on the car, because that is the final thing, the thing you're going to always see. Not so pretty, that one, but it works. It works fine. Get the idea. It's an experiment anyway. Okay, so that's the back box minus the tip complete. Centre section actually complete. Everyone, so the tip is tacked on, tip tack, and now we weld it on. So let's do that. What a mess. Well, I'm done. I don't think I can do a finish on this right now. I'm going to have to chill out. Because that is a mess, and that's a pointless waste of time and my money. I work hard, I buy good gear, I've got one of the best TIG welders for this sort of entry-level stuff. Well, not even entry-level. This is a... Let's not talk about it. If you were on Instagram today, then you voted to have this exhaust tip. So you got it, basically. It was that or the OEM one. The OEM one was slightly too small, but I could have lived with it. I polished it up. And as you can tell by the out of focusness, even the camera doesn't like it. So I'm kind of pleased with that. I was going to oval it, but actually I quite like the look of it. Someone's trying to text me, so that's cool. Yes, it needs a clean. That's the next on the list. But it looks alright, I think. Looks just fine. Not too big, not too small. We'll have a listen in a second. I haven't heard it yet. And so we've got our back box in there. Two hangers where they are OEM. Clamp. And then she comes under and round. Clamp, a hanger just to the side of there, you can just see it, mid-box, clamp, cat, and then bend up to the turbo. She's a little bit closer than I'd have liked, just there, but we can put a little relief in there if we really need to at the back of the subframe. but she's just at the right height that I like. Some of these exhausts are hanging down like here, and then you go over bumps and just scrapes them all the time. So it's kind of tucked nicely out of the way, shouldn't get too much damage. So let's listen and see what it sounds like, shall we? Because that is quite important. I've put these extra boxes in, not just gone straight pipe, because I want it to sound pretty good. So, let's flip the mic round. Here's to find out the battery's flat. Sounds pretty good. Oh, I haven't got the keys. I guess I'll go get the keys. Hold by. Because it's been raining in the engine bay. Just got a nice rumble to it. Good. I like that. Great. Better do the old shot for Instagram, and we're done for the night.
You're an animal.